Live Twins Sprite is taking things down, and man, I wish I could show you the hero list that just doesn't exist on the internet. I'm big 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. We're going to be looking at Ireland Nationals here, and, well, a lot of info has come out of this event. We have 4 Kashtira decks taking the lead out of Top Cut here. I mean, 4 out of 16's not, like, that crazy oppressive, right? Like, right? But it's still that's a pretty good conversion number, actually. We had 3 Super Heavy Samurais leaping into action here, which I'm not all that surprised about. The deck has been a pretty consistent contender here. We also had 3 Purely decks. You know, what do you want me to say about that? I think that that's actually kind of cool, that Purely's also kind of putting up a good conversion rate here overall for Top Cut. So, okay, we also had 2 Labyrinth decks. Now, Labyrinth has, I mean, honestly, when you kind of get into these smaller nationals out here, you start to see, you know, more of these decks kind of grind. I mean, Ireland had 206 people for its nationals, so Labyrinth kind of getting that grind game going against some of the rogue contenders is good. We also had 1 branded deck in Top Cut, which is fine. We had 1 Sprite deck. You mean to tell me that Sprite grinded all the way up to the Top Cut? Yes, it does appear to be that way, actually. You've got different classifications for, you know, your Sprite decks, but that's actually kind of a little bit of an interesting thing to kind of see here. We also had, hi Mathmech, Mathmech getting the chance to do its thing out here as well, which, once again, I mean, I'm not really surprised all that much to see that, you know, you're pulling that off. And then, of course, it would appear that we had a Mathmech version, excuse me, we had a Purely Sprite deck was our other version. I'm not really sure what we're doing with that, but, you know, do with that what you will. And then we had Abyss Actors taking down Top 32. And I wish I could tell you about the hero list, but it's been days and it hasn't been posted where it was said it was going to be posted, so I'm sure it'll show up at some point. But let's pass on over to Decklist. Alright, winning your event here was actually Evil Twin Sprite. You gotta love good old consistency out here, as this deck still kind of does the same game plan that it's always done. Like, you use the consistent package of Sprite to set up, and you use your Evil Twin package as your interruption package and draw power. Right? Like, that's what you want me to tell you? Like, that's essentially how it's working? Well, yes it is. To be perfectly honest with you, Bysteel's swinging back into action here. It's pretty nice. Interesting to see they chose Baldrake over Druis Worm as their little extension, but okay. I suppose when you can see different option lines kind of coming together here for a success rate, that's kind of interesting overall. But I don't really see anything else too out of norm for this deck. Like, this deck really is just kind of put together. Like, all of your engines flow together nicely. Your hand traps check the things that they need to check. It's pretty straightforward at this point. Next up here, we have our Super Heavy Samurai Toolbox deck. Now, full disclaimer, I say this every video, Super Heavy Samurai is pretty much developed. A lot of people have already got the ratios down in terms of monsters. You get a little few changes, like this build's playing anti-spell fragrances to kind of spicing up the deck just a little bit. You have, you know, Pankratops in here as a little extension option so that you can kind of control things. I mean, you've also had other builds that are playing double Fenrir, but Pankratops and Fenrir do serve kind of similar roles in terms of the action plan for what you want to do for this deck. So keep that in mind, that a lot of these builds, very, very standard. Stein has been cut. This build does not play Spell Counselor. Actually, looking at that, you typically will search the Spell Counselor off of the Genius, but it looks like that this deck opted to not even worry about that package. So, okay, a lot of, that's kind of interesting to say that. So this got chucked into the Purely quote for the breakdown. Now, this is Purely Sprite. You're probably just like, Robbie, wait, what? Yeah. This build ended up making top 8 out of the event. It might have been top 4 even. But in terms of what this deck does, I mean, your Purely package, I mean, climbs you into, you know, Link 2s. Your Sprite package gives you a nice consistent backing so that you can get access to, the rest of your toolbox down here. I mean, you're only playing one gigantic spray. You play Sprint for the sub dump, so you can climb up this package if need be, and then everything purely related just nets you the rest of your deck. Like, it's an interesting toolbox concept that, I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of people exploring with the Sprite side of things, but it's interesting because, I mean, yeah, it does kind of conflict with the Nor, but you can make the Nor first and then make the gigantic. It really depends on how your hand opens up for how you're going to play this. Next up, we have our other purely list. Now, this is a little bit, what you're used to seeing at this point in time. You have the Dark World package, which nobody's playing Shell at anymore. Like, Shell was a very cool tech choice in my personal opinion at, like, the very beginning of the deck, but the Dark World package has just been, I guess, way more consistent. I also like the Destructive Daruma cannon little tech choice they have in here. So Destructive Daruma and Herald of Abyss both being cards that we're seeing this deck kind of adapt towards, kind of handle, the big old scary boss monsters. And then I see we have some Denko Sekka down here for any back row related decks. Hey, your opponent just sets up, all the back row in the world. Denko Sekka, clean up aisle 9. And we're siding the little Garaffa back here as well. I mean, technically, you side this in and then you have an immediate pop option. So that's definitely something to really consider. I see that we also have summon limits back here for a little bit of extra defensive options as well for the deck. Okay. Oh boy, Math Mech. We're not... I also love saying this. We got all that cool new firewall stuff that so many Math Mech players were excited about. You don't have to play it. It does add a little bit of flair to the deck, but I mean, like, this build just opted to play the Neo Tempest Terahertz, and this wasn't even, like, an extremely new card. Congratulations, you got this out of Maze, right? So if you're planning on, like, picking up the new firewall stuff, it does add a little cute, flair to the deck at certain points, but you don't need it. It just... Old Reliable still works. Circular F is still amazing. You're still playing same decent amount of hand traps, 12 of them. Anti-scam, so you don't lose to the random spell cards out here that can actually do things. And this build is actually sporting off evenly matched, so you can, clean up some more of the defensive options or take away from your opponent so you can actually play the game. Yeah, build feels very, very standard at this stage. Let's see here. We also have Cash Money, Dollar Bills, the deck. Pankratops has been showing up a lot more back here in Cash Tira as of late. I don't know if players just are sick of dealing with the meta at this stage in time, but it has been a pretty decent showcase that this card storming back into the format actually does matter a lot, and I think we'll continue to see this as like a little tech choice for the remainder of this format. I see we also have Lances in here for defensive options. We have Evenly Matched as well. We're not playing Thrust to toggle into this. We're just playing 2 in case we need to see it. We're playing Trap Tracks. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay, so we have a little cute interaction here to be able to beam out some trap interactions, high dimensional barrier, a pointer as well. So this deck, very much still the same control deck that you've, seen unfold for quite some time, but you got a little bit, fresh icing on the cake for what this deck wants to do. And we also have our top 32 Abyss Actor deck. I was so happy to see that Abyss Actors had actually got the chance to step up here so you could do your thing. Now, this build is playing Droll, Lava Golem, and Gamma. That way, you actually have some defensive options here. Honestly, I think if your opponent sees you activate Dress Rehearsal and they try to ash this, you chain the Gamma, well, congratulations. You're making a Draco Berserker so you can do your thing. This build is also playing Super Poly, so your defensive options are going to even give you a chance to try to stay in the game is right here, which is kind of nice. I also see that we have Effect Veilers and Ash Blossoms to board in and rotate for hand traps if need be. I still like the fact this deck gets away with playing this. Really, overall, though, I think a lot of people kind of underestimate Abyss Actors. This is kind of one of those decks that does come out of left field, and you're kind of like, where in the world did that come from? I think that this probably will still be the surprise factor out here, because once again, be honest with me, besides Curtain Riser, you probably have never read an Abyss Actor card in your life. That is everything that I have out of this event. There's still a hero list out there. I have no record of it. It's supposed to show up on a YouTube channel, I expected by now, but it has not. If it comes out post, the making of this video, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be out of town here, so I wanted to make sure that, we could at least get this up so you could have the chance kind of see what's going on. So overall, I like seeing a Best Actors. Very, very happy. I'm very happy to see how this event went. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.